So I got a little interrupted. Let's go. Continue.
And I've been able to embrace being a funky woman. A funky heterosexual woman who wants to get married and have like a traditional family at that. So like really not that different than most women, but just growing up and you're autistic and you have experienced trauma and your brain is not developed and it doesn't have long-term planning, and it's also, has PTSD, and you hate yourself. You're desperate to try and, find love, find community, find peace. And, there also is a myth that if you don't transition and you have gender dysphoria, that you're going to kill yourself. And I was suicidal for a long time. And so I became desperate to solve all these complex issues. And part of it are existential. Part of them are unresolved childhood trauma. Part of them are just, part of growing up and developing into an adult. And so I was unfortunately I was fast-tracked to be able to access medicalization when I really should have been gate-kept, and I was not a suitable person to be medicalized. So when I was 19,
For sure.
I went to an informed consent clinic, which basically means you just walk in and you say you're trans and you want cross-sex hormones, testosterone, and they gave me a free prescription of testosterone that day. Even though I told them all these lists of, being suicidal, all this, they still gave me that pretty much completely unregulated. They just gave me a very high dose of testosterone, which is an experimental substance, and pretty much had no checks and balances. They just gave me the prescription and that's it. There was no doctor overseeing me. There was nothing. And I was suicidal and 19, and the testosterone, I injected it into my thigh every week, and it had a lot of adverse effects on my mood. As you can imagine, like, psychologically it wasn't good for me. I became even more angry, reckless, horny, like just really so much more. Everything got elevated to the extreme, and it was completely not being supervised medically at all. And so that was really bad for me. I felt very out of control.
I heard Courtney Colson talks about this, how testosterone can mentally make you really, really violent and things of that nature. We've heard, of course, about certain cases where some people have hypothesized that to have occurred for certain people. But yeah, to me, I just kind of do. I kind of think, even putting that aside, to me, it's a futile effort. If at the end of the day, someone can pull down your pants and you will not be the same as any other man, even with phalloplasty. Phalloplasty can't even make you specifically have your dick function like a man's dick functions, basically. So you can't even get that, But to me, it's just like, honestly, I kind of just think, like, I don't understand why people think, like, that's the only problem. You know what I mean? To me, it's not just the fact that, okay, as far as transgender surgeries, are they really effective in making you actually a functional member of the opposite sex? I don't believe they are, but that's not the point to me. It's like more than that. What is the reason one tries to? And I mean, like, for a lot of detransitioners, I think that plenty of them have realized they had less problems than when they transitioned, because they were chasing something they were never going to get. The thing is, when you have just as much problems, if not more, when you are not transitioned, that tells you that what is the solution. If people are treating you badly for not transitioning, why not transition? You get my point? So it's kind of like a double sword. And it is kind of painful in itself. Now, I do think that all in all, there's like, try to do, you could do better than just, focusing on the fact that some people won't accept you and, think they don't matter. If you're a strong enough person, you'll come to that conclusion. But that doesn't mean, that's not going to change how society is going to receive you as your biological sex. It's not. It's not going to change anything. They're still going to fucking hate you for the rest of your life, too, no matter what you do. There's a small percentage of people who will accept you as the sex you transition to because they're happier with you transitioning and mimicking another sex than being who you are, because what you are they hate just like the other people hate, but other people just hate you no matter what, though. That's what I don't get with those type of people. Like, there's no solution. You hate a masculine woman, and you hate if a masculine woman transitions to live as a man. You just hate that person. That's why I never understand with those people why they even talk about this. Like, why do you have an opinion? Why do you have an opinion on people if you don't even like them either way? Like, you're not going to be pleased either way because they exist. And the thing is, many people don't like to admit that masculine women and feminine men exist because they want to say that all men and women have the same brain. Like, I've talked to some people and they think that literally all women have the same damn fucking brain. So weird. There's so many fucking women out in this world, billions and billions upon women, and we all got the same brain. How the fuck does that happen? But anyway, continue.
And reckless, and I was still suicidal, so it just made me more impulsive. I was abusing drugs at the time, and so that escalated that. Just giving a 5'2" female, a very high dose of testosterone, and she already has PCOS, so she already has like hormonal issues. You're giving her these cross-sex hormones that aren't meant for her body. It's really dangerous. And then I had a double mastectomy when I was 20. So that is obviously a huge regret of mine. I'm at the point now where I have such acceptance over my body and being a woman, and I'm so much more mentally stable that the thought of wanting to remove my breasts, if I had them today, it just seems incomprehensible to me. But at the time, this is 6 years ago, at the time, I felt like I had no other option. And I didn't even want to be trans, to be honest with you. Because
I honestly feel like, for one, and that's one thing I feel is a social construct embedded in her brain, because if you really think of it, how can you ever assume that testosterone isn't natural for your body? If you understand what PCOS is, PCOS is when you have a higher level of testosterone. So your body naturally produces high levels of testosterone. And you're saying that it's not natural for your body to produce and process high levels of testosterone when your body literally naturally does produce naturally high levels of testosterone. That doesn't make much sense now, does it? And I find that really weird that someone would say that. under that ideology, it's like I feel like certain people go from one end to the other end, but it's all the same fun, okay? It's all the same thing. You still are trying to put your body into a sector that your body doesn't fit, just like you did when you were a biological male. I mean, not biological male, but you were a trans man. Both ways, you're trying to put your body into the idea of what society tells you to be. That's why people like her will always be on hormones. Now, I didn't talk about that part. With PCOS, usually people try to get on estrogen and try to make their levels on estrogen higher to mimic women. Even though they're naturally not high levels, they don't have high levels of estrogen. So both ways are actually not loving your body. It's not loving who you are naturally. And to me, it is annoying to me that some people go to these extremes where they are like, oh, okay, if I'm not going to be trans, I'm going to take the other extreme. I don't believe in that. I think sometimes the two extremes are just two sides of the coin. You can find this with, and I know this is not the same issue at all, transgender issues and anti-trans or whatever. You can obviously see two sides of the coin. You can also see this with homophobia and homosexuality. There are two sides of the coin. Basically, two sides of the coin are the two extremes. They behave the same, they have the same ideology, they have the same rhetoric and everything. One just doesn't like one thing, and so then it goes out of proportion and it seems completely different when it really isn't. So anyway, that's all I really had to say in this video, was just I personally do not see how it's smart or a good idea to take one side or another side. I personally think be you, love your body as it naturally is, and that is actually finding yourself. That's not by taking hormones. That's not by getting surgeries by running from yourself, basically. In any direction, for that matter. Not to be the perfect woman, not to be the perfect man, So that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and have a great day. Bye, guys.